Imagine this. You just received the email you've been waiting for. A hospital in Saudi Arabia has offered you your dream job. The salary is excellent, the hospital is internationally recognized, your family is excited. You've already started planning your move. You imagine yourself walking into one of the most advanced hospitals in the Middle East. Everything seems perfect until one email changes everything. Your employer writes, "Please complete your Qualification Verification Program or QVP before we can proceed." And suddenly, everything comes to a halt. Questions start racing through your mind. What exactly is a QVP certificate? Do doctors need it? What about nurses? Does every healthcare professional have to complete it? Why are some applications completed quickly while others seem to stop moving for weeks? And what happens if something goes wrong during the verification process? If you've asked yourself any of these questions, then this video could save you weeks of confusion. Welcome back to Legal Visa Services. If you're planning to work in Saudi Arabia as a doctor, nurse, pharmacist, physiotherapist, radiographer, laboratory specialist, or any other healthcare professional, this is one video you should watch until the very end. Because today we're going to explain the complete QVP process in simple language. We'll also show you the mistakes that can slow the process down, the documents you should prepare before you begin, and how many applicants unknowingly create delays simply because they weren't aware of the requirements. If you find this video useful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Every week, we publish practical videos on Saudi work visas, QVP, MOSADAQA, SE registration, UAE equivalency, document attestation, and international career documentation to help professionals make informed decisions before moving abroad. Now, let's begin with the one question that almost every healthcare professional asks. Do I actually need a QVP certificate to work in Saudi Arabia? The short answer is, for many healthcare professionals, the QVP process is an important part of the documentation and verification journey before beginning employment in Saudi Arabia. But understanding why it exists is even more important than simply knowing that it exists. And that's where most people become confused. Because in just a moment, I'm going to show you the biggest misconception doctors and nurses have about the QVP process. It's the same misunderstanding that causes unnecessary delays for many applicants every year. So don't skip this next part. So, what exactly is a QVP certificate? Surprisingly, many healthcare professionals misunderstand it. Some believe it's another medical exam, others think it's a license to practice medicine in Saudi Arabia, and some assume it's just another document upload that takes a few days. The reality is very different. The Qualification Verification Program, commonly known as QVP, is designed to help verify educational and professional qualifications as part of the employment documentation process for many applicants traveling to Saudi Arabia. For healthcare professionals, this step becomes especially important because employers want confidence that the qualifications presented during recruitment match the supporting educational and professional records. Now imagine this: Dr. Sarah, a physiotherapist from the United Kingdom. She had accepted a position with a leading rehabilitation hospital in Riyadh. She had already completed her interviews, her employment contract was signed, her accommodation had been arranged, her flight was almost booked, everything was ready. Then came the email: "Your QVP verification is currently pending." At first, she wasn't worried. She assumed it would be completed within a few days. But 1 week became two, 2 weeks became four. Still no progress. Her employer started asking for updates. Her joining date was approaching. She checked the portal every morning. The status looked exactly the same: verification in progress. Nothing changed. She began asking herself, did someone reject my application? Did I upload the wrong documents? Will I lose my Saudi job? Here's what most people don't realize: a QVP application can slow down for different reasons depending on the individual case. Sometimes an educational institution needs to respond to a verification request. Sometimes additional clarification is requested. Sometimes an experience letter doesn't contain all the information expected by the reviewing authority or employer. And in other situations, supporting documents may need further review before the process can continue. That doesn't automatically mean the application has been rejected. It often means more information is needed before the verification can move forward. This is where many applicants unknowingly make the biggest mistake. They stop checking their email, they stop monitoring the portal, or they assume the process will simply complete on its own. Days become weeks, weeks become months. Meanwhile, their employer is still waiting. At Legal Visa Services, we've worked with many professionals who found themselves in situations just like this. Instead of guessing what might be happening, our team begins by reviewing the applicant's documents, identifying any inconsistencies or missing information, and coordinating with the relevant parties to help keep the process moving as smoothly as possible. Every application is different, but having experienced guidance can make it much easier to understand what information may still be required and what the next step should be. For Dr. Sarah, the breakthrough came when her documentation was reviewed in detail. A clarification regarding her educational records was needed before the verification process could continue. Once the required information was provided, her application progressed and she was able to move forward with the next stages of her employment journey. That experience taught her something she wishes she had known from the beginning. The QVP process isn't just about uploading documents. It's about making sure the information you're submitting is complete, accurate, and ready for verification. And that's a lesson every healthcare professional should understand before they begin. But here's where the story takes another unexpected turn. Because QVP isn't the only thing healthcare professionals preparing for Saudi Arabia need to think about. There are other documentation steps that many applicants don't discover until much later, and waiting too long can create even more delays. Let's look at those next. Now, here's something many healthcare professionals don't realize until they're already deep into the process. QVP is an important milestone, but it's only one part of preparing for a professional career in Saudi Arabia. Depending on your profession, your employer, and the regulatory requirements that apply to your role, there may be additional documentation or professional registration steps before you can begin working. That's why preparing early is so important. Let's go back to Dr. Sarah's story. After weeks of waiting, her QVP verification finally moved forward. She thought the difficult part was over. But then another email arrived. Her employer requested additional documentation so they could continue the onboarding process. Fortunately, because she had already started gathering her documents early and had professional guidance, she was able to respond quickly instead of starting from scratch. Imagine if she had waited until the last minute. Every additional request would have added more pressure. Her joining date could have been affected, her travel plans might have needed to change. And that's exactly what happens to many applicants every year. Not because they are unqualified, not because they've done something wrong, but because they underestimated how important document preparation can be. One missing document, one small inconsistency, one clarification requested by a university, one supporting document that wasn't ready. Sometimes that's all it takes to slow everything down. That's why we always tell healthcare professionals, don't wait until someone asks you for a document. Prepare before you're asked. At Legal Visa Services, this is where our team becomes involved. We don't simply tell applicants to upload documents and hope everything goes smoothly. Instead, we begin by understanding each applicant's profession, employer requirements, educational background, and the documentation already available. From there, we help applicants understand which documents may be needed, review the paperwork for consistency, and coordinate with the relevant institutions and authorities throughout the documentation process wherever required. Every application is unique. Some are straightforward, others require additional follow up and coordination. That's why having experienced professionals guide you through the process can save valuable time and reduce unnecessary stress. Over the years, we've worked with doctors, nurses, physiotherapists, pharmacists, laboratory professionals, radiographers, and many other healthcare professionals from countries including the United Kingdom, Germany, the United States, Canada, Australia, South Africa, India, the Philippines, and several others who are preparing for careers in Saudi Arabia. Although every case is different, one lesson remains the same. Applicants who prepare their documents carefully from the beginning generally face fewer avoidable delays than those who wait until problems appear. Now, here's another question we hear almost every day: can I complete everything myself? The answer is yes. Many applicants successfully complete their documentation independently. But if your application becomes complicated, if you're unsure which documents are required, or if you've already experienced unexpected delays, getting experienced guidance can help you understand your next steps and avoid repeating the same mistakes. The goal isn't simply to submit documents, the goal is to submit them correctly, because every day matters when your employer is waiting for you to begin your new role. But before you start your QVP application, there are 7 documents every healthcare professional should review first. Miss even one of them, and your documentation process could become much more difficult. Let's go through that checklist now. Before you begin your QVP journey, here's a practical checklist that every doctor and healthcare professional should go through. First, make sure your passport is valid and that the personal information matches all your supporting documents. Second, review your educational qualifications carefully. Ensure the names, dates, and details are consistent across your certificates and academic records. Third, check your experience letters. They should accurately reflect your role, employment period, and other relevant information expected by your employer or the verification process. Fourth, organize any professional registration or licensing documents that may apply to your profession. Fifth, keep digital copies of all your documents in clear, high quality scans. Blurred or incomplete uploads can create unnecessary delays. Sixth, monitor your email and application portal regularly. If additional information is requested, responding promptly can help prevent avoidable waiting time. And finally, don't wait until your joining date is just around the corner. The earlier you prepare your documentation, the more time you'll have to address any questions that arise during the process. Let's return to Dr. Sarah one last time. A few weeks after providing the requested clarification, she received the update she had been waiting for. Her verification had progressed. Her employer completed the remaining formalities. Her travel arrangements were confirmed. And finally, she boarded her flight to Riyadh. When she walked into the hospital on her first day, she told us something that has stayed with us ever since. I wish someone had explained the process like this before I started. That sentence is exactly why we created this video. Because every week we speak with healthcare professionals who are talented, experienced, and fully qualified, but who simply didn't know where to begin. If this video has helped you understand the process better, please take a moment to like this video, share it with a friend or colleague who is planning to work in Saudi Arabia, and subscribe to our channel. We regularly publish practical videos on Saudi QVP, MOSADAQA, Saudi Council of Engineers, SCE, UAE equivalency certificates, document attestation, work visas, and international career documentation. If you are currently preparing your documents, if your QVP process has stopped progressing, or if you're unsure what documentation you need for your profession, our team at Legal Visa Services will be happy to review your case and guide you through the process. You can visit us at www.legalvisaservices.com. You can also reach us on WhatsApp at +919 1361 27789 or call us directly on +919 1361 27789. Thank you for watching, and we wish you every success in your journey toward building a healthcare career in Saudi Arabia. We'll see you in the next video.